Welcome to another video. My name is Amsterdam Comic Geek. Now recently I thought I'm gonna treat myself to some new comics because it's been a while since I bought some new comics. So I went online and went to my favorite online store, cheapcomics.com. It's a nice store that's based in the Netherlands where I live as well. And they always have great stuff in stock. And there were a couple of things I really wanted to have and just a couple of things I'm curious about. So this video is a comic book haul video. Now first of all, I got this sent to me by Chris. That's the proprietor of the shop, Invincible, which is of course the animated show based upon the comic book. I haven't seen a single episode because I don't have Amazon Prime, but I remember reading Invincible back in the day and thought the comic book series was pretty good. But this one I'm particularly fond of. This is X-Men Grand Design by comic book master Piskor. Basically, he made all the comics of the X-Men into one linear story. That's what Grand Design is all about. And I really love Piskor's drawing style. At the moment, Red Room is a big success. That's his outlaw comic. It looks pretty awesome and it's pretty violent. It's pretty juicy comic basically. And I'm supporting Piskor on Patreon. Ed is running a comic book channel with his buddy Jim Rugg. It's called Cartoonist Kayfabe. It's the best channel on comics on YouTube at the moment. And this Grand Design, it's so huge it doesn't even fit the screen. It's so big. But these Treasury editions are wonderful. And Ed did this one, X-Men Grand Design Part 1, followed by Second Genesis. So that's the Dark Phoenix saga and the second team of X-Men with Storm and Cyclops and Wolverine and Colossus that were introduced with giant-sized X-Men by Len Wein and Dave Cockrum. And I really love this project. So I only need the third installment and then this whole collection is complete. I highly recommend this stuff because it's so much fun to reread old stories in the way Piskor draws them, but also how he makes sense of all these storylines and makes them in one big narrative. And I think that's quite an achievement. Alright, so Nick Spencer Spider-Man, that's something I'm collecting at the moment and I'm a bit behind. So this is The Green Goblin Returns. And we have the return of Norman Osborn. And this is Last Remains. It's a big storyline and I think the villain is called Kindred. And it will be revealed who this guy is, who's pulling the strings behind the scenes, making Peter Parker's life miserable. So I'm not gonna open these comics because I don't want to get spoiled yet. And this is the Last Remains companion. It's a bit douchebaggy of Marvel to make 2 volumes of that, I think, because these are just sort of related to the Last Remains storyline with Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen. And I'm not sure if it's really necessary to read the second volume, but just to be sure I bought them both. But I always find it a bit odd when people, it's like Amazing Spider-Man 50.LR or something and 54LR. Doesn't make any sense to me, the numbering Marvel uses nowadays. But what the heck. This is Invincible Iron Man by Matt Fraction and La Rocca. And this is number 11. And I've been collecting the whole series by Matt Fraction. I'm only missing volume 2 and 3. But Chris had this one on sale as well, this hardcover, for only 17 bucks. He also had a softcover. I'm basically collecting them in softcover, but that was for like 30 bucks. And I thought, well, the hardcover looks great. Why not buy that one? I think they did Iron Man for about 4 years or something like that. So that's quite a long time. I couldn't pass on this one. The Avengers, the Kree Skrull War. I've never read it. It's by Roy Thomas and Sal Buscema and John Buscema and Neil Adams on the art. This is great stuff. This is classic Avengers stuff. And this summer of this year I started reading old Avengers comics because I got a stack of Dutch translations, and I've always had a soft spot for the Avengers, so I'm looking forward to reading this classic storyline. Because I make these little videos about the comics I bought, Chris was nice enough to let me choose a comic for free, and I choose Avengers Epic Under Siege by one of my favorite writers of all time, Roger Stern and Danny Fingeroth, Steve Englehart I see, and then Buscema, Ditko and Bright. So that's quite a lineup, and this looks good. I'm looking forward to reading this as well. Well, of course I'm looking forward to reading it because that's why I bought it. And also got this one for free because when you place an order that's more than 75 euros, you can get a free comic as well, and I thought it would be interesting. This is the official handbook of the Marvel Universe. It's the third volume, A to Z, but this is C to E, Elements of Doom, and I really dig this stuff. They have a segment on the Daily Bugle, so the history of New York's finest newspaper, with the whole staff of the Daily Bugle. I always like this stuff, with the different buildings of the Bugle. This is just great stuff when you're a geek. I'm also thinking about buying the original official handbook of the Marvel Universe. I think it came out in the mid-1980s. It was a project by Jim Shooter and Mark Gruenwald. Mark Gruenwald was the guy, basically I think the mastermind behind everything. He was really a big Marvel connoisseur, and this stuff is just it's wonderful to have and to read. Anyway, this is my comic book haul for May 2021. Is there anything about this stack that looks familiar to you, that you have read? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Cheers!